Hello again, it's me Rima and I'm back again with yet another super interesting lesson. Now today's lesson is a bit tricky and yes, it can get nasty because it's all about work politics. Now we all know that work politics is a reality and however much we hate it, it's there for us to deal with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with certain words that describe work politics. Now, I don't advise you to practice this, but I advise you to know of this so that you can actually deal with it when it's thrown at you. So the first such interesting work politics ethic, I would call it, is name dropping. Very common and used very often. So now this actually means to use important names. Now this practice is rampant. A lot of people are doing this. So imagine, you go for a client meeting and before the meeting actually starts or before you actually get to the point, you use the names of a lot of important people or important or influential clients that you might have. And suddenly the new client perceives you as influential. There you go. You used important names to forward your work. This can also happen when you're trying to request a favor from a colleague. So before you ask for the favor, if you casually slip in the fact that the CEO is a distant cousin of yours, trust me, you're going to get your work done much faster. Now this is very manipulative. I don't advise you to do this, but there are going to be people who try this technique on you. So make sure you're aware of what name dropping means. It means to use important names to get your work done. Up next, to curry favor. Now this has nothing to do with the fragrant curry, and no, this is not a spelling mistake. I didn't mean the flavor of the curry. This means something entirely different. To curry favor means to try to get into the good books. Now mostly I have seen employees do this with their bosses. They try to curry favor, which means they try to get into their boss's good books. Now they do this by doing a lot of things, like probably arriving before time because the boss is a fanatic for punctuality, or probably, bringing coffee for the boss, just like a casual gesture, and over a period of time, get the boss to like them. So that's what they're doing. They're currying favor. And this is a practice that you'll see a lot of people use. Make sure you're aware what they're up to. And the next one, oh my God, badmouthing. Now, is that a problem or what? Badmouthing actually means to criticize or backbite. So a lot of people, create this kind of negative energy at work. They choose one particular target who's, their co-worker whom they don't like, and they go around bad-mouthing, as in criticizing or backbiting about the person. And that's not a very good thing to do. In fact, it's the worst thing you can do. And if the person you're talking to is fairly wise, that person is going to actually see what you're up to. But you'll actually find a lot of people indulging in bad-mouthing. Make sure you're not one of them. Moving on, there's idea snatching. Now, in today's creative world, this has become a huge reality, which means to pass off another's idea as your own. So imagine if you're on a coffee break with a co-worker and y'all are discussing ideas for the presentation, And to the surprise of the co-worker, when you actually give out the presentation, or when the actual presentation happens, suddenly the co-worker's idea is the top idea in your presentation. Now that's very, very nasty. Taking someone else's idea and passing it off as your own to gain credit or curry favor with your boss is not a good work ethic. But don't be surprised if people actually do that to you. Be careful about your ideas. Keep them to yourself unless, they're like a common idea which is to be shared with everyone. So that's all about idea snatching, which has become a huge reality, something you need to be careful about. Lobbying. Now, lobbying actually means to seek support or influence. So you're going to find a lot of lobbyists at your workplace, people who actually go from person to person, co-worker to co-worker, trying to seek influence and support for their ideas. So if you have some crusader in your workplace who thinks that Saturdays have to be a holiday, or Saturdays have to be working for that matter, and that person's going to go from person to person trying to gather support for his or her idea, and that act is called lobbying. Now this is a very political act because it kind of makes you come across as like a workplace leader or very, very influential. Moving on, there is overstepping, which happens on and off at workplaces. Now overstepping means going beyond one's scope. So if you're an assistant manager and you're always cutting out the ideas of your manager, interrupting him, being bossy with your manager, you are kind of overstepping your boundaries and trying to appear more influential than your reporting boss. Now, if your super boss likes this kind of behavior, you're in for a treat. But if he does not, then you have two unhappy people, your super boss and your reporting boss, and it's definitely not a decent work ethic. Moving on, there is groupism. Oh yes, tell me about the groups that get formed at work and how tight are they? So groupism means supporting people because they are part of a group. Now, if you have a small mini group in your office, people who kind of go to lunch together. So each time one of these people shares an idea in front of the boss or in the boardroom, without realizing, if you're just supporting their ideas or agreeing with them, what you're practicing is groupism. It's like one for all for one, and the group is like a tight circle which does not allow outsiders to enter. Now this can get very intimidating for people who are outside of the group, and it can get very advantageous for people who are part of the group. So that's what groupism is for you. And the next one is very, very common. Playing favorites. Now, if you have a boss who plays favorites, oh my God, it can be very, very exhausting for you. So playing favorites actually means to like or dislike certain people for personal reasons. So if you have a blue-eyed boy or a blue-eyed girl who really, really curries a lot of favor with the boss, and the boss is playing favorites with him or her, be very careful, because without realizing, your work could be compromised, your credit could be compromised. So playing favorites actually means, someone liking or disliking certain people for personal favorite reasons. And the last one on my list is being pushy. Being pushy means being aggressive to get your work done. There are a lot of people in the workplace who can be very aggressive and very pushy in order to get their work done. So imagine a colleague who wants something from you, like a favor. So instead of requesting and saying, please, can I ask you for a favor? The person's just pushy and aggressive, saying, I want you to do this right now. Can you please do my work first and leave everything else? Oh boy, now that is pushy. So being like this and being pushy and aggressive is definitely going to earn you a very bad name at your workplace, and you should avoid being pushy. It's always more beneficial to be polite and to make a request rather than appear very pushy, bossy and aggressive. So that's all about words that describe work politics. There are many, many more out there because there are many political techniques that people are using to garner favor and influence at workplaces, and we all have to be on our toes. So I hope you enjoyed this very political lesson. And once again, I don't advise you to practice any of these techniques, but I advise you to be careful and to be on your toes. Well, if you've liked this lesson, make sure you subscribe to our channel. If you have anything to say to me or add to this lesson, please type in the comment box below. I'm going to see you very, very soon with yet another interesting lesson. This is me, Reema, saying bye-bye.